Not only in this video segment are we going to solve an equation like number 11 where we get an answer, but the answer will not check. We are also going to solve an equation for a different letter using this process. So let's go ahead with number 11. Number 11's least common denominator is x plus 4 times x minus 4. That's because this denominator right here is the difference of squares, and it factors into x plus 4 times x minus 4. So you've got this x plus 4 once, x minus 4 once, x plus 4 once, x minus 4 once. Would you try to envision my shortcut now? If you have this fraction right here and you want to clear this denominator, you'd multiply by both of these, and the x plus 4 here would cancel out with that x plus 4. So this x would just get multiplied by the x minus 4. So let's write that down here. So we'd have x times that x minus 4, and the denominators would be gone. Don't forget the minus sign that's going to come up next. See this fraction, 4 over x minus 4? When this fraction gets multiplied by both of these, this x minus 4 and that x minus 4 will cancel. So this minus 4 is going to have to be multiplied by x plus 4. And so I'll have the minus 4 that was in the numerator times that x plus 4. And then finally on the right side, the x squared plus 16, when it gets multiplied by both of these, both of those will cancel with what's in the denominator. So you're just going to have left the x squared plus 16. So let's go ahead and clean this up. So x times x is x squared. X times a minus 4 is a minus 4x. This is kind of nice the way this is set up, because this minus sign in front of this 4, it means I'm going to distribute the minus 4 times both of these. So minus 4 times x is a minus 4x, and a minus 4 times a positive 4 is a minus 16, equals this x squared plus 16. I'm going to go ahead and combine these like terms and call those a minus 8x minus 16. You see this x squared and this x squared? I'm going to lightly show that I'm going to subtract x squared from both sides, and those are going to disappear. So I have just this minus 8x and this minus 6, and then over here, this minus 16. So now I've got to solve for x. So I've got to get this alone, so I'm going to add 6 to both sides. I paused for a minute to see that I copied this minus 16 down as a minus 6. Whew, so let's catch that. So copy that down, and then I'm going to add 16 to both sides, not just 6. And for whatever reason, my word, this was a plus 16 right here. So I brought that down incorrectly. So finally, on the right side, I'm going to have a 32, and on the left side, I have a minus 8x. You know, I'm feeling kind of bad about that. I think I'm just going to erase right here and just start all over again so you can see that. So I think I've copied everything now. So these two combine to be a minus 8x, and this is a minus 16. Then this positive 16 gets brought down, and I'll add 16 to both sides, and I'll have a minus 8x equals 32, and then now I'm going to divide both sides by a negative 8, and I find out that x is equal to a negative 4. Well, would you go back to the original problem with me? And I'm going to erase this because you've already kind of taken some notes on this, so I'm going to erase all of that. Do you see this denominator right here? If you had to substitute in a negative 4 for x and then add 4 to it, you'd get 0. So you'd have a negative 4 up here, and you'd try to be dividing by 0, and you can't. So a restriction on the domain of this function is that x cannot equal a negative 4, yet we found out x does equal a negative 4. So I do have to stop and say that there's no solution to this problem because a negative 4 will not check. I also want you to see that x could not equal a positive 4 because 4 minus 4 would give us 0. So one of the other restrictions is that x cannot equal a 4 as well. So do watch. Just because you get an answer doesn't mean it's always going to work in case it's a restriction, in case it causes us to divide by 0. Okay, so this problem works the same way as any that we've been doing. I want to get the letter S alone. Man, it's in both of these numerators. So I'm going to come on over here and say that the least common denominator between a 4 and an 8 is an 8. And and a to the second power is the least common denominator. I got to take it the greatest number of times it occurs. I'm going to do this properly. So I'm going to rewrite this so you can see it a little bit better. So each term is going to get multiplied by 8 and a squared. And just so you can see the a squared, when I cross off one of these a's, I'm going to write that as a times a. And then here, 8 times a squared. I won't bother writing that out twice because I'm going to cross off the a squared and the a squared. And here, 8 times a squared. All right, so let's go over here. So this a and this a cancel out, and 4 goes into here once and into that 8 twice. So be careful. This is all gone now. This is all just 1. So you have 2 times a times 3 times s. So the 2 times 3 is a 6as. Over here, a squared over a squared is equal to 1. So all you're left with is a minus 8s. And on the right side, the 8's cancel out, and 1 times a squared is a squared. Now, I'm looking to get s alone in this problem. And these terms cannot be combined because this one's an apple and a salmon. 6 apple salmon, and this one is just 8 salmon. They're not like terms. You cannot combine them to be like a -2, 6 minus 8. But they each have an s in them, and that's what I'm trying to solve for. So I've learned how to factor and take out the greatest common factor. Yes, I could take out a 2 out of these, but it's not necessary, and it's easiest if I just keep this s alone out here. So I'll need this 6a right here, and then I'll need a -8 right here. And now I've got s as a single factor. There's a dot right there. So to get s alone, I'm going to divide by 6a minus 8, both sides. And I have successfully solved for s. S is alone on the left side, and it's equal to the a squared divided by 6a minus 8. Electricity and electronics, thermodynamics, statics, dynamics, physics. I have to do this all the time. Solve for an indicated letter. So in this case, I want to take this equation and solve for the letter y. So I'm going to clear the fractions of their denominators, which are the letter c's. So this one's going to be multiplied by c, the 2 by c, and this one by c. So that these c's right here can cancel out. So the first term will be a y, the next one will be a minus 2c, and the last one will just be a 3. I'm looking to solve for y, so I've got to get rid of the 2c, so I'm going to add 2c to both sides, and I'm done. Y is the only thing on the left, and it's equal to 3 plus 2c, or don't forget that you could write this as 2c plus 3. We'll do some story problems in our next segment that deal with rational equations, but we'll go ahead and pause for now as we get ready to take a look at these. Please practice these solving for an indicated letter.